Ben, when you look at the way you guys played in that last game, what makes you confident about that carrying over into Big Ten play?
I think you just like that it resembled kind of what we were stressing in practice, which was big. Obviously after a break, there's going to be a little bit of rust from guys not playing, and just in the month of December as in whole, we haven't had that many games. So really wanted to emphasize, a couple of main things that I thought carried over from practice and getting things to look more and more like practice. I'm a firm believer the sign of a good team and a mature team is one where you're able to go from practice to game and carry a bunch of stuff over, and I thought we did a good job of that.
How much do things ramp up now? I mean, I get it, you already played 2 conference games, but we have this new format, right? Like you have to be top 15 to make the Big Ten tournament. So starting Thursday, how much do things really ramp up?
Well, they ramp up, because now you're so focused as league play, whereas you get the 2 games in December, but then you go back to some non-league games where now everybody's focus across the whole country is league play. And so with that is a certain level just of intensity, because every game you watch is going to be, different league opponents playing, and you're prepping for this league, and everyone's talking about this league and your conference playing who you got next. And so there is definitely a different level of intensity. It's probably the funnest time of the year from January to mid-March when the Big Ten tournament is. And with the new group, you're just trying to express to those guys with a bunch of one-offs this year what each team is. And I think that's important. And we kind of try to break down to the 7 new guys kind of who Purdue is just as a program, and what they're going to face stylistically. It is different when you have, so many teams you're not playing twice. So everything's new. And again, with just so many new guys, I think the more information we can give them on these one-offs, it did help to play 2 games early against really good opponents, because it's going to, give them a better prediction of, what a Purdue team is going to be like. And, hopefully we can fall back on that and lesson learn and play well on Thursday.
Purdue's a lot different without Zach Edey, but at the same time, Braden Smith and some of the guards and Matt Painter's style is still there. Like, you played some good guards this year, but probably nothing like Braden yet.
Yeah, he's unique from the standpoint of he's one of those few guys that just, every minute he's out there, he gives you everything you got. He takes no plays off, and he's playing, 35 plus minutes a game, almost the whole game. And, he's got so many games under his belt. You could tell each year he's just added things to his game. Now I think his ball screen usage is #1 in the country. Without Edey, they've been able to flip that. So now he's heavy ball screen. And, he's the leader of what they do. There's no question about it. And you've got to rise to the level of his play. And he's a guy that brings that effort. And so if you don't compete, guys like that will embarrass you. And so that's the challenge, is understanding just your opponent, understanding what he's about. And they've got a good quality team that, is like us. They're trying to bring in the new year with a win. They're trying to get their first road win. They've lost a couple early this year that I know they're trying to learn from as well, just like us. So, our mindset's got to be, again, protect home, and this game can't be more to them than it does to us.
You talked about some of those early losses, that there's a stretch of 4 out of 5, and I know, because social media and things like that, there's criticism going on, on the outside. How do you keep the outside noise away when, there's a lot of new guys on this team that haven't experienced that before, and, obviously there's some guys that have, but some guys haven't.
Yeah, you just got to talk to your guys about, whether you're winning or losing, there's always going to be, a certain narrative. You can find negativity and outside noise, regardless of situation. And whether it's good or bad, it can't impact our approach every single day. So if we were, 11-1, and there's the outside noise about how good you are, if you buy into that and worry about that, you're going to stop getting better. And so we just try to focus on, today. Like, what can we do today to help us be in position to win a game on Thursday, and try to keep that so focused. And I think our guys, although they're new, they're slowly starting to understand that. This is the first time, a lot of those guys have probably been covered the way we're covered as far as just media goes. And there's some, nuances that you gotta deal and handle with that, the pressures. But the more games you get under your belt, the more comfortable you get kind of in that environment, in that situation. And then also just telling them it can't impact, what you do, like what people say, even how we've played, good or bad. Today's a new day, and we got to be able to have that mind frame.
Do you think some guys, when they were going through, even if it was an individual struggle, maybe felt it a little more because they're playing for the Minnesota Gophers instead of somewhere else?
Yeah, no, I think that's the human nature part, and as coaches, you try as best you can to talk about it even before the season. Even in the recruiting process, you talk about for guys that are taking a step up that it is different with just the exposure and the light. It shines a little bit brighter. Being in a city where you have pro teams, you get covered a little bit different. And I think guys understand it until you're in it, and then when you're in it, as a coach now, you got to help them navigate through the good and the bad with that. Every player now is obviously on social media. And so, again, it goes both ways. We dealt with it last year when we were winning. Now you get more worried about, are you believing and reading all the headlines versus just the noise, being able to block that out and being the same consistent person you can every day. So we were just trying to emphasize that regardless of what people say, good or bad, it doesn't dictate how we got to be today in practice. And that's what's most important.
Any part of you that says, I wish I had a full roster? Like, you don't have Cochran right now. If you had Mike earlier this year, maybe you don't have some of those losses.
Well, I think
As a
Mike's
team, in your years here, you really haven't had a full roster.
knock on wood. Get that word out there more, please. No, I think there's truth to that. You don't want to, I'm never going to be a big excuse guy. Never bought into that. You got to play the cards you're dealt. But there also is a reality standpoint with Mike especially, to lose anybody early is tough, but to lose Mike. And the thing that I realize now more than ever is with all the new guys, they were thrown into position in a situation early, sooner than they needed to be, without Mike. That was probably unfair, and it was more challenging than I probably anticipated because you're losing a guy that I'm relying on just for comfort, that knows the system, that can take pressure off Dawson, especially early because he does know the system. They know each other. It's one last new guy you have in a rotation with expanded minutes. It's a guy that you guys know, obviously can stretch the floor and space it and score it. And that gives everybody confidence. When you see the ball go in, it gives everybody confidence, not just the guy that made the shot. And so when he's out for, I think it was 6 games, it is tough. And again, now you're trying to put new guys in different situations that they would be when he comes back, and you're trying to early in the year as you're all trying to figure out your team and trying to figure out roles. It takes a little bit longer because of that. So it's part of the game. You can't control it. Hopefully those will be behind us and we can slowly continue to build on guys that are back. And those guys need reps. Like with Frank when he was out. Early, and then with the concussion, it's like it's hard because he needs those reps. Those new guys need those reps. Even Caleb, Caleb goes out with mono the same time Mike is out. So his big window and opportunity is gone just because he's out. And so now you're trying to get him back in the mix when you're getting back in the mix as returners are returning. And so, again, it is what it is. You just try to navigate it as best as possible, but there's no doubt, the healthy teams, especially getting into league play, are going to be the most successful teams.
Is there an update on Cochran?
Not really. He's been working out, which is good. Has not done anything 5-on-5, nothing with contact yet. So I think that's still probably week to week. That's something with our medical staff that they kind of keep me updated day to day as far as like what he can do if there's changes to practice. So hopefully, because when he was there, he does a lot of good things, and it's another veteran player that, can make shots and make plays, defensive player of the year in the MAC. So he brings some value to us. But at the same time, we're going to be fair to him and not rush, for anything injury-wise with him.
I would think at this point, is him being out the whole year and maintaining the red shirt? At this point, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like not playing this year?
Yeah, well, I think so much of it is going to do with just the timetable. There's a lot of the year left, and I know for him, the competitor that he is, he wants to play. And again, now when you're back working out, it's not like you're on the sidelines. Like, he's doing workouts, so he's getting his body slowly into shape, and he's seen practice. He's here every day. So I know part of him is like, man, I want to get into games, especially as we get into league play, and everything again is more heightened. So, we'll take it a day by day, week by week approach, and timetable will dictate some of those decisions.
Did you get to see the recruits much during the break, like going to California?
I was able to. I was able to. My staff was able to get out. I was able to get out. That's the one good thing about the break. Is we wanted to play a game a little bit earlier, so we could do that. And we were able to when you looked at guys' schedules. It's so tough during the year, especially for me, because you obviously got to be here for every practice. And so for me to be able to get out and see those guys and be able to watch them, not just on film, but see them live, is good for me. So, yeah, it was nice.
Dawson find a shot, so finally made some threes the other day?
He did. It's one of those things where we talked about kind of as the year builds, like role definition, and not necessarily role definition of like no one knows or Dawson doesn't know what his role is, but it's him understanding within your role being really good and being aggressive at that. And I thought he did that. I thought the shots that he took were his role type shots. They were off of either two guys on the ball off a ball screen and it got thrown back to him. They were wide open threes off like a driving kick where his foot was down. He didn't hesitate. He didn't shoot it in the crowd. He didn't shoot it in traffic. It was rhythm threes where his foot was down. He's really good at making those and shooting those. And same thing with Mike. Like, Mike got into those role-making type shots. And good players, when they take shots within their rhythm, within their role, I think a lot of times you find success. And good shooters just need to see the ball go in. But sometimes, the type of shots you take can dictate that too, right? If you're taking contested ones or you're rushed or it's not in your spot or you're in your rhythm, and it's a little bit outside your role, well, the degree of difficulty, now your percentages and your chances go down a little bit. So I think Dawson just did a good job of within the flow of what we're trying to do. He took them and he made them. So hopefully he can see a couple go in and that builds. I think too, just Mike making shots helps everybody, right? It's like free throws. Like when we start making free throws, it's a snowball effect. Guys see a couple guys go up to the line with confidence and make them. Well, it's a way different feeling now when you're going to the line. We've made 6, 7, 8 in a row. Well, Mike's making a couple of those shots early. That just gives everybody more confidence, especially guys that can shoot. So for Mike to start the stage, I think was really good. And I think Lukai's close too. He's worked his butt off in the gym. He's taking good shots. He's a good shooter. I see it every day. He's going to get one to fall, and then all of a sudden now that one's going to turn to 2, 3, and 4. That would not surprise me at all. And for our team, if we can get that third guy that can come in and provide a little bit of that offensive spark and confidence and floor spacing, that's going to be big, coming down January, February.
And you haven't beaten a ranked team, and you haven't beaten Purdue yet. Like, what would it mean to get a win like that for the program? And you're playing at home, and it's good momentum.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I think more than anything, we want to be competitive, and the ranking is great. Beating Purdue, that would be great, but we want to win this game because it's a league game. It's the next one at home, and I want our guys to not have the outside pressure of that other stuff, but the pressure of that of like, if you're a competitor, you win this game because we need this game, and that's got to be our mind frame. Each game's kind of like that individual game. If you win it, then you can start talking about all the extra stuff that comes with that. We know how good Purdue is, ranked or unranked. You beat Purdue home or away, that's a big time win, and that's got to be our focus of, all right, what do we got to do to beat Purdue or put ourselves in position to beat Purdue? And it's not going to be easy. We got to play our best, but we're capable of doing that.
Thanks, Coach.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.